Greetings and welcome to episode 255 of the Words About Games podcast, the weekly news and culture discussion podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy Kate Alexander, joined this week by Daffyd Moody. He's got a barcode on his chest. Looks like it.
Friday, you know what that means.
It means it's election results day. But we're not going to talk about that because we've literally spent 50 minutes talking about it before the podcast started. So
Yes,
instead, Mr. Janice Moody. I'm trying to correct the auto captions. If I say the thing wrong, maybe it'll do it right. How was your day?
Not bad at all, not bad. Just been college, smashed out 2 units, pretty much caught back up now, so I'm really happy on that. Now it's cracking on to doing the other units. I've got 8.5 weeks left, then I'm done college. End of June, I finish here. That's all
Save
that.
the PlayStation Class player. There's so many times I think I'm going to sip from that. I did make myself a second drink in a different glass.
Nice.
At some point, I will need to run screaming to the bathroom. But I'm glad you had a good day.
Wait,
I'm glad
why do you need to run screaming to the bathroom?
I've decided that instead of just going somewhere like a normal person, like I'm just gonna run screaming because I mean that's how I feel most of the time, right?
That's fair.
I feel like that's an appropriate response to reality these days. But I had a really good day myself. I went to vote, and then it was like, oh, the weather's really nice, so I'm just gonna go for a stroll, like not a walk, right? Like just a stroll, like leisurely pace. Like I was walking, I'd sort of walked around the greenish areas, like of where I live, and like sat on a bench and just listened to like there's birds everywhere, like just tweeting all over the place, and I was just like relaxed for the first time in weeks. Like I was just sat on this bench thinking, this is the first time I haven't been going somewhere or been doing something for like weeks. So I was just sat on this bench like, this is nice. tweet. Like,
I'll say one thing, this time next week when we record our next episode next week, I'll be fully vaccinated, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey!
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They've got moved up again.
That's amazing. I love it. That's fantastic. I'm really glad to hear it.
Thank you. I'm getting fully vaccinated before my partner. She's not happy. She's not amused. She's like, wait, I was in before you. Why am I not getting moved up? I'm just special.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for my first one, but it's fine. I'm used to the NHS making me wait for things, so.
That is fair.
We should probably cut the preamble off a little bit early this week.
Just a little bit, yeah. We could be here for hours.
We're going to be here for at least 5 hours.
Especially on the first topic. Topics. Because it's like on a lot of mini miniature topics added into the one main topics. It is,
because this is the Words About Games podcast, blah, blah, blah. You already know this part. This week's episode, we discuss the absolute mess of chaos that has followed the Epic versus Apple trial and all of the presumably confidential information that has come out during it. And there's some other stuff too. There are timestamps in the description below the video on YouTube. I have no idea what they're going to look like. There's like fucking 15 things to talk about that came out of the Epic versus Apple trial so far, because it's happening right now as we record this podcast. It's still going on. I added another thing to this like an hour ago, like that had come out earlier in the day. But if you don't watch this on YouTube, there's still timestamps wherever you get this podcast, Telesphere. The podcast is also available on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and some other ones I've never heard of. I was going to do some announcements, but I'm not going to do that because we've got a lot of news. I'll do it next week. News number 1. Epic boss says Sony charges publishers a cross-play fee in certain circumstances. This is from Wesley Impool over at Eurogamer. He writes, Epic boss Tim Sweeney has said Sony requires compensation from publishers for crossplay in certain circumstances. In explosive comments made during the opening day of the Epic versus Apple trial, Sweeney said Epic agreed to the fees in order to get crossplay going on Fortnite. Quote, in certain circumstances, Epic will have to pay additional revenue to Sony. If somebody were primarily playing on PlayStation but paying on iPhone, then this might trigger compensation. End quote. The Verge also reports that Sony's policy stipulates publishers can't transfer virtual currency to or from PlayStation, and there must be a setting to disable all cross-platform interactions. The Verge also says Sweeney confirmed Sony is the only platform holder that requires this compensation for crossplay. Sony only established... Do you want me to go through the history of Sony and crossplay? Sony were getting hammered for it for a year. Epic Games turned it on by accident at one time to prove that it was easy and possible. We all laughed. It was very funny. But you're muted. You're muted. You're still muted.
Thank God I said something incredibly offensive.
Don't make that. No. Don't make that.
Yeah. That's true. My apologies if I offended anyone in this zone. But Sony charged publishers the cross-play fee.
Yeah, there's a calculation here I'll read there as an example, because it all came out in emails as well. So Epic trying to get Sony to basically agree to crossplay. And my favorite part of that was Epic saying, "Look, we're gonna get what we want. We're Fortnite. We have Fortnite. We're gonna get what we want." And I was like, yeah, that's true. That's exactly how this is going to play out. But they did offer. The publisher says the publisher pays Sony a royalty fee to offset in the reduction in revenue only if the proportion of PSN revenue share divided by PS4 gameplay share for a title is less than 85% in any given month. Sony offers a calculation example. Let's say for the month, cross-platform revenue is $1 million, and of that, PSN revenue was $900,000. If the PS4 gameplay share was 95%, the publisher would pay Sony nothing. But if in the same month only $600,000 of the $1 million revenue was PSN revenue, and the PS4 gameplay share was still 95%, the publisher would have to pay Sony $52,500. And then there's maths. The policy only kicks in if a game exceeds $500,000 in gross PSN revenue within a 12-month period, so smaller games potentially avoid having to pay a fee.
I have to ask this honestly. With how much of the debacle it was when it comes to Sony saying yes, no, we won't do this. There's so many of these things that we have to do for this to do this, that we actually surprised that they did this.
I don't
honestly.
So this is a thing, right? And this has been bugging me in discussions like this for a while, where it's just like, "Oh, we surprised Sony did." No, of course we're not surprised Sony did this. I'm an anti-capitalist. I'm not surprised when any corporation does pull some bullshit, because they're corporations. They're always pulling bullshit. The surprise isn't really a part of the discussion at this point. It's like, I'm never surprised. I think you'd be hard pressed to find anyone who was surprised that PlayStation or any of them would do this. The only reason Xbox and Nintendo aren't doing this is because they're not the market leaders and they're trying to become the market leaders.
That's the thing about it. If they were the market leaders, they would do it. For me, I think they would do the same. I think they would do the same.
No, well, Xbox aren't the market leaders. So Nintendo, well, we'll get into it later, but Nintendo dances to the beat of its own drum in a wonderful, quirky, eccentric fashion, where it's just I don't think they understand what online means.
I don't think they understand. I don't think they understand what the word at all.
Whether they would do this or not, I'm not sure they would understand how or why they would do this. But it's we've got crossplay, we've got frictionless crossplay between Microsoft, between Nintendo, between PC, which isn't really a platform in the same way the consoles are, and PlayStation is yo. If someone spends on their iPhone instead of on PlayStation, that's lost revenue because false equivalency is totally the thing. That's not how the force works. PlayStation. That's the nonsense argument. And again, I do not support or condone piracy in any form, but that's like the nonsense argument that if you somehow manage to close down all piracy, every single pirate would then buy your games. Someone downloading a pirated game does not equate to a lost sale because they probably weren't going to buy that game anyway. It's a similar sort of thing here where it's like they're spending the money on iPhone. They probably are because they're probably buying this shit when they're out and about. Would they have bought it on the PlayStation Network? Nah, probably not. Have you ever tried to use your fucking PlayStation Network to buy things? It's not great. It's not great. But I digress. This explains so much about why when crossplay became a thing, there was slow uptake. Lots of studios weren't doing it, especially like smaller games. This explains so much about why crossplay was the way it was, or is the way it is, I guess. It's because there's money. Like, there's a potential chance that if you do this, you're going to trigger having to make payments to PlayStation for stuff that they didn't sell.
Yep. Yep.
Like,
it's so anti-consumer. I'll never deny that whatsoever, and I am pro crossplay. Like, we have an amazing time every Saturday over on twitch.tv/wordsboutgames playing Among Us with our friends, and some of them play it on iPads, some of them play it on their Switches, some of us play it on our PCs and everything. And some of us will probably start playing it on our Xbox or our PlayStation when it properly comes to this PlayStation. I know it's already on Xbox, but either way, it's like...
You may continue. I got a point to make about that.
Okay. Like, this is like crossplay is amazing. It's like for more people to be able to play is an absolutely fantastic thing for. But Sony wanted to trying to get some capital out of this. Yeah, of course they were going to. Of course they were. I'm not surprised, and I'm just like, you know what, now. Don't like it, but I'll take the cap. I'll take my cap off my hat off for you. I was thinking, yo, you saw something. You saw a loophole, and you're thinking, I can do something here. It's gonna piss people off, but I'm still gonna do it.
They're never gonna find out about it. It's not like two of the biggest tech corporations. Two of the biggest tech corporations in the world are gonna sue each other.
They probably didn't foresee this to happen, but at the same time, I know you asked the question offline, or something, whatever. I'm getting myself
what I asked is, and it was a sarcastic question because I have a sarcastic sense of humor. But what I asked was, how many companies do you think are really pissed with Epic and Apple right now?
Yeah, Sony knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, but they can't be happy about it because, like, we've got more.
I don't think they care. They don't care.
Like, not about this.
They will not be caring whatsoever.
I just this is out there. Their shit's hanging out there for everybody to see now, and like, it's funny. And we're going to get into so many different things, but I find it really, really funny that everything that's coming out of this trial about PlayStation is more or less this negative stuff. And then you go, well, what's coming out about Microsoft? It's like, they really like The Last of Us Part 2.
It was game of the year.
I mean, it's absolutely. But like, it's just like PlayStation is just like lawsuits, crossplay fees, and Microsoft is just like they did an internal review of The Last of Us Part 2 and found that they want to make games like that.
Yeah,
it's like the difference between like what's coming out for one company versus another company. It's really amusing. And hey, like I said, we're still in this trial. Like, shit could come out about anyone at this point. That amused me. But to your point, last week when you did the thing, because you said it at the very end of the podcast where you were like, breaking news, Among Us is going to come to PlayStation, and I was like, great, now we can't do that next week. And honestly, I'm glad because look at everything that happened. And I said to you afterwards, I was like, oh, I'll definitely get it on PlayStation. Like, I'd love to play Among Us on play. Nah, you're right. I don't want to I don't want to accidentally cause like the developers of Among Us to have to pay PlayStation like money for cross. So I'll just play it on Xbox when it comes to the console. And guess I won't even have to pay for it. I mean, it will because it's not very expensive, and I want to support the developers for a game I've put a ridiculous amount of time into. But I can't even with PlayStation anymore.
PlayStation, they're making themselves. There's a lot of dirty laundry out there on them, but
I know
it's
that they
gonna
don't
be
care. I care.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not saying and your opinion is completely valid to we care as well. What the thing is, it's going to be interesting if this does do a dent at all. Theoretically, it should. Will it? Probably flipping not.
At the moment, to borrow a common saying / metaphor, at the moment, Sony is the camel, and everything that's been happening over the past year are the straws that are being put on the camel's back. It
But
takes a lot
that's
of straws to bring a camel down.
There's no doubt about it. But all those straws will literally be washed away if they announce the state of play and they showed, I don't know, something that literally will shut everybody up and everyone's just like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever.
know.
What did Sony do? I can't remember what they did. They just given
They did it so well. Moody's internet has died, and
I'm still here.
That was a hilarious. You were like,
and I made an important point there as well.
no, you did, and I want to like continue that side of the discussion with. I really hate that. It's one of the things I hate most about video game discourse. I mean, I hate all of video game discourse. If you've seen it, but
it happens in a lot of things. Sorry,
like it happens with everything. Yeah. Like you can wash everything away by just going, look at this, and this is my tea lid, but look at the shiny thing. Look at it. It happened. Yeah. It happened last year with Ubisoft. Everybody went, fucking, oh my god, Assassin's Creed looks great. Wait, what was this about? Sexual abuse and harassment in the workplace? Like, guys, I'm talking to you, and I'm talking to the guys specifically because the girls know this. Like the gamer guys. Sit down a sec. I just want to say one thing. It's going to blow your mind, so I hope you're sitting down. There's room in your brain for both of these things. Because I've been talking shit on Sony for months. Feels like decades, but I think it's months. And when they show me God of War Ragnarok at some point, I'm going to be like, ooh, that looks amazing. I'm really excited for it. But also, this stuff is still here. Like it's still in my brain, and I'm still going to talk about it. One doesn't have to cancel out the other one. In fact, one shouldn't cancel out the other one. But that obviously goes in both directions. Like, if you're excited about a video game coming from a company that does some shitty stuff, that's fine. But, like, don't forget the shitty stuff.
I think that's our motto, isn't it? Basically, the word games motto. You can be excited for this crappy publisher's probably incredible game. But don't forget, they're still a shitty company in some way. In everything. That's our motto. We need to sort it somehow, but I don't know.
Motto, like, that's not a motto. Like, loot boxes suck as a motto. Like, man, remember those days you could make a 3-word motto out of something, and now it's just like, it's paragraphs now. A motto is paragraphs long.
It's a speech long. It's an Obama speech long.
Sony facing lawsuit over PlayStation Store exclusivity. This is from Danielle Partis over at GamesIndustry.biz, who writes, Sony Interactive Entertainment is up against a class action lawsuit by consumers regarding exclusivity on its digital storefront. That's according to a report from Bloomberg, which claims that Sony is accused of operating a monopoly by only allowing digital games to be bought through its online store. Sony's PlayStation Store has become the only place that players can purchase digital games after Sony stopped allowing third-party retailers to sell download codes 2 years ago. The suit states that consumers may spend up to 175% more to download a game on the PlayStation Store than they would on purchasing a physical copy. Quote, Sony's monopoly allows it to Sony's monopoly allows it to charge super competitive prices for digital PlayStation games, which is significantly higher than their physical counterparts sold in a competitive retail market, and significantly higher than they would be in a competitive retail market for digital games. End quote. That's from the filing. Mm-hmm. The decision was... I just realized 20 minutes into the podcast that we never did a sound check. So I was just looking across and when you said to make sure the bar moved.
Yes, I am talking.
Can you imagine all of that? And it's just like, oh, fuck.
I'll literally be saying, hey, we've got to do it tomorrow now.
The decision was made in order to align key businesses globally, a spokesperson told GamesIndustry.biz at the time. Quote, to support full games and premium editions, SIE will introduce increased denominations at select retailers. DLC add-ons, virtual currency, and season passes will still be available, end quote. This also came out... Everything we're talking about up until a certain point came out of one lawsuit, and I love it. But, so Sony is being sued because they've allegedly effectively created a monopoly thanks to the PlayStation Store, which, they did. That's what a monopoly is. Like, if you stop everybody else selling your digital games and you only sell them in this one place, that's a monopoly. And there are supposed to be rules against that, even in late-stage capitalism. So we'll see what happens. I don't think this is going to go anywhere. It should, but I don't think it's going to.
It'll be a behind-the-scenes deal.
And everything that it sucks because everything that the lawsuit says is true. Like, because Sony doesn't have to compete with anyone for its digital pricing, it can just do whatever the fuck it wants.
Mm-hmm.
And who's going to stop them?
Mm-hmm.
Because for some reason we're all and I don't get this, and I never have in Europe and the UK specifically. In America, I know that generally speaking, like your physical copies and your digital copies of games cost the same, so why wouldn't you buy digital? But like for a long time in this country and across Europe, as long as you're not buying from game, the physical copies of games are cheaper than the digital ones. I don't understand why everybody's moving to digital. Like, you get games cheaper from Amazon. Or, like, Granger Games closed down. But, like, like a physical games retailer, Base, or fucking Shop2, or Simply Games. Asda. I've bought games from Asda before. Yeah. I bought Ratchet and Clank.
Don't go to CEX, Lizardone. They suck.
They do. But, like, yeah, it's just like, so, like, yeah, you are paying extra. Like, this shouldn't, and I would hope this should be news. I would hope to anyone. Like, this part shouldn't be news. But hey, like, hopefully this class action lawsuit does go somewhere. And, PlayStation are forced to create a competition.
Probably not.
But probably not.
But we will see. Speaking of another competition.
Last point. This is why you should buy indie games and only indie games. Anyway. Speaking of
another company being sued by creating a monopoly,
Valve is being sued over Steam monopoly accusations. This is from Liana Ruppert over at Game Informer, who writes, the Epic Games versus Apple lawsuit is impacting the games industry dramatically as the topic of what constitutes as a monopoly comes center stage. Earlier this morning, we shared how Sony is being sued over PlayStation Store exclusivity, and now Valve is being sued for the same regarding Steam. The Epic Games versus Apple lawsuit's epicenter is antitrust violations. Antitrust laws are in place to protect consumers from companies owning a monopoly over their given market, as well as protection against predatory financial practices. The court proceedings have the interest of the entire gaming community, and now Valve is the latest to get swept into the bigger conversation about its placement in the gaming hierarchy. As reported by Ars Technica, quote, Valve abuses its market power to ensure game publishers have no choice but to sell most of their games through the Steam store, where they are subject to Valve's 30% toll, said indie game developer and Humble Bundle creator Wolfire Games in the lawsuit against Valve. The suit cites that Valve controls 75% of the PC gaming market, a point that Epic Games itself has driven home with its reduced sales cut in its own storefront to try to get Valve to do the same. Xbox has also recently cut its percentage to match that of Epic Games, putting more pressure on Valve to be more developer-friendly in terms of the cut taken from sales through its storefront. Valve has been in a negative spotlight many times throughout the years, especially regarding the space it has nestled for itself. Steam storefront exclusivity, its 30% cut, and competition control through price points have all been points of contention and reasons behind its continued top spot placement regarding the PC market. With Humble Bundle also being a storefront with charity as its core focus, the lawsuit puts its hardships on the line, including how publishers have been scared to be included in bundle events because of Valve retaliation. Yeah, I mean, you know what, Moody? I've said so much about Valve over the years. I think everybody's sick of hearing me talk about it. So you say words now.
I'm not gonna lie. What do you want me to say here? They're doing the same thing as PlayStation. Why are we surprised?
Just
They're
a
doing
thumbs up. Valve
yeah,
sucks.
yeah. It's like, come on, guys, like, and girls and everyone else. Like, come on, man. It's like, are we? I know people like hate saying, "Are we surprised?" It's like we shouldn't be surprised or anything like that. But like, seriously, come on. It's like, if you want to stop this, move over to Epic Games, over to Epic Store. If you want to, if that's the thing about, if you want to hit them, and the same goes for PlayStation. If you want to hit them, you hit them with the wallet. Hit them in their wallet, because that's the only time they're going to actually listen to you, ladies and gentlemen. PlayStation did that when they got hit in the wallet a little bit with the PlayStation 3, and then they fixed that and fixed it and fixed it, and at the end of PlayStation 4 Life started to fuck it up again.
Yeah.
And well, they did. And Microsoft, they did well, and then they fucked it up and fucked it up and then took an entire generation to start bringing it back, and probably won't start truly recouping that happiness from fans and gamers and money what they deserve to get, even though they're Microsoft are $1 trillion company. They don't really need the money type of thing.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, but it's like the whole freaking thing. Like, come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah, right. Actually, you bring up an excellent point. Socialist Amy's taking over. If you want,
okay, I'm going to shut up now.
If you really, really care about this stuff, right, and you want to do something about it, there's not really much you can do because corporations have too much power over individuals. But there are some small things you can do, and Moody just pointed out one of them. Stop buying your fucking games directly from Steam, and stop buying your games directly from the PlayStation Store. Like, the only thing these corporations actually care about, and that includes all of them, is money. If you stop giving them your money, they will not, like, and enough people do that, they will notice. And then they will do something about it. Why do you think we have Game Pass and Play Anywhere and xCloud and Crossplay and backwards compatibility on the Xbox? Because more people gave their money to PlayStation than they did to Xbox. So Xbox had to do things to get that money back. And that's the cynical realist view. And honestly, like, I love some of the stuff Xbox has been doing, but I also know why they're doing it. Bottom line. Mm-hmm. And if you want things to change, you have to vote with your wallet. You can't do it any other way. Or your purse, or your handbag. Or maybe you keep it in, like, I've seen people with, like, phone covers where they have, like, their cards and stuff in it. I don't know what that's called. But that thing, like, vote with that thing. Or vote with your phone, or your PayPal, or however you pay for these things. Buy your Steam games from a different storefront. Buy your PlayStation games physically. Will it make a difference? No. But if millions of people start doing it, maybe it will. If that's what you want to do, if you want to actually affect change on that level, that's how you do it.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
And then we rise up and burn down capitalism. But anyway.
We don't do that, but okay.
That's later down the line. Stage 10, I think. I don't know. I haven't read the manifesto for a while.
Phase 10, huh?
I haven't read the manifesto for a little while. We got a bunch of not quite full news stories. Shout outs to games.
We'll get through these, Pat.
Shout out to GamesIndustry.biz. Shout out to Game Informer. Shout out to Eurogamer. I pulled this stuff from those websites. It's all just from the Epic versus Apple trial. I didn't put them in any particular order.
The highlights, ladies and gentlemen.
Highlights. Yeah, I wrote highlights. I didn't know what else to put. But I don't know if they're highlights, but they're interesting. Are all game consoles operating under a monopoly? Microsoft also came in the equation where the question was posed as to whether or not the iPhone is more likened to an Xbox or a PC, effectively pivoting to the conversation as to whether or not all big gaming consoles are also in violation of antitrust laws if that's the case against Apple. Apple's defense went on the offense against the gaming community, citing that if Epic should win this legal battle, that would bode ill for other gaming companies as well, including Xbox and Valve. The latter is already under legal scrutiny by Humble Games, and Sony Interactive Entertainment is also being hit with its own lawsuit regarding digital restrictions. And you can learn more about that here. You hear further back in the rewind the podcast. If you rewind the podcast, it's an interesting question. Are all gaming consoles operating under a monopoly?
In some sort, probably.
In some ways, yes.
Mm-hmm.
In Sony's case, yes, absolutely. In Microsoft's case, not necessarily. You can buy their digital games from other places. From Nintendo's case, I don't know. Maybe I don't know if you can buy their.
Nintendo doing Nintendo, man.
I don't know if you can buy their digital games from other sources, but essentially, I think that's the dividing line.
I highly doubt it if you think about it.
In terms of consoles, I'm not even going to touch PCs.
Yeah, but on Switch and everything like that, you can't play Pokemon games on the Pokemon like Sword and Shield and like Let's Go on. You can only play them on Switch.
It's whether you can play them on Switch. It's not really about exclusive game. Like exclusive games are always going to be exclusive to platforms. Like Nintendo made the game so they can decide where they want to put it. It's more about can you buy the digital like. Is the eShop the only place you can buy a digital copy of Pokemon Sword? Let's say, like that is I think the dividing line of the question being raised. That's why Sony's being sued.
Also, if games say have some digital codes for that would
like for example, if you could buy it from Game, it's not really a monopoly because then Game could sell Pokemon Sword digital for £5 cheaper than the eShop. And then the eShop can either be more expensive or it can cut its price. And that's how competition works. And that's how competitiveness keeps prices down.
So going off the top of my head, then, unless it comes out that I'm wrong here, which it could be a high chance, I think my Nintendo are okay.
I am looking.
I'm pretty sure you can get digital codes again.
You can buy digital codes from other places.
Yeah, so they're okay.
Because I am looking at one right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad price either.
It's alright. What about Fortnite revenue, though, Amy? What about the Fortnite money for Epic Games?
Did you know Fortnite makes a lot of money?
No, I didn't.
Well, the Epic Games defense cited that Fortnite has made over $9 billion in revenue in the game's first 2 years, with over 400 million registered users to this date. This is also a part of Apple's defense as well, citing that Fortnite's popularity in this space has not been dimmed by its restriction from the iOS and Google Play storefronts. I don't have a comment. Fortnite makes a shit ton of money, and I just thought it was interesting. Like, clearly, so did someone else, wherever I got this from. Thought it was interesting that it made a lot of money. Yeah, the amount of money it made. It's interesting to know.
Yeah, like when people say, like, when people say like when Epic are spending money, they literally say they're spending that Fortnite money. Epic spending that Fortnite money type of thing, and that's what it is, and it's true. Like, $9 billion will get you a couple of things, ladies and gentlemen.
And Epic isn't a perfect company. Again, I feel like I've just said this before, but Epic isn't a perfect company. No company is. But I like some of the stuff they're spending that Fortnite money on, compared to Valve spending their money on not helping the industry in general. Like, we've talked about what Epic spends some of their money on. Helping the games industry. Helping developers publish their games. Like, I'm getting an Alan Wake sequel funded by Epic Games. I'm getting an Alan Wake sequel because Fortnite made $9 billion. I can't be mad at Fortnite. Is what I'm saying. Like, but I mean, not that I've ever been mad at Fortnite. Like, I'm not one of those people like it's mad that things get popular, but unless you like Rise of Skywalker, in which case, get out.
Best sequel Star Wars movie, ladies and gentlemen. It's facts. Absolute.
I don't believe that, though.
But I think it is the best sequel Star Wars movie.
Last Jedi is the best sequel Star Wars movie.
The new trilogy is called the sequel trilogy. Yeah,
and The Last Jedi is the best one.
Yeah, I agree to that.
I said unless you like Rise of Skywalker, you can get out.
I didn't catch that.
No, sorry. It wasn't a Last Jedi joke. It was a Rise of Skywalker joke.
I thought you said Last Jedi.
No, but if you don't like Last Jedi, you can also get out.
I'm getting confused now.
Star Wars.
I obviously wasn't paying full attention, and I
I know
apologize for
you're
that.
never paying full attention, and I'm used to it. It's fine.
I'm not. Like I'm like a Mark Zuckerberg in that film of a Social Network, where it literally just says, "No, you have like 10% of my attention. The rest is on something else."
In a sort of comedic turn, a 2015 email revealed that Apple CEO Tim Cook had no idea who Epic's Tim Sweeney was when the former forwarded an email from the latter saying, "Is this the guy that was at one of our rehearsals?" Some think that this was a deliberate belittlement of Sweeney, given that he and Epic have been closely tied to Apple by this point via various launch events. Just
shows how big booty Tim Cook thinks of himself, saying, "I'm the man who's running Steve Jobs' company." Ha ha ha, ladies and gentlemen.
I am the greatest man on the planet, because,
I'm not your typical CEO. I am the CEO of Apple. Yep.
Kill me. A court document reveals that Apple tried to dissuade Netflix from halting the App Store's in-app payment system. It was at that time that Netflix ceased offering subscription options through its app, instead offering a direct line of purchase, much like Epic Games did, bypassing Apple's 30% cut.
Yeah, if you try and bypass the Apple's 30% cut, they get angry at you. So yes, I'm not surprised that they tried to do this. So, what, you're not giving us money? No. It's like that Stewie Giffen meme when he beats up a dog. Can't remember the dog's name. Where's my money?
Where's my money? I've seen that. Like, I hate Family Guy, but I have seen that shared around a few times. Yeah. Where's my money? Where's my money? And he's like beating the shit out of him, throwing him around the house.
Yeah.
More court documentation shows emails between Sweeney and Xbox's Phil Spencer in 2020, showing that Xbox isn't opposed to bringing its services over on Nintendo and PlayStation ecosystems. This includes the ever-growing xCloud gaming from Xbox, which aims to allow players to play their favorite games flawlessly on iOS and Android devices, as well as PC through cloud streaming. The email shows that Xbox isn't adverse to bringing the service over on PlayStation and Nintendo systems to make gaming more accessible to everyone. We already knew all that.
He says that's his plan. And like, did you see the full email and everything like that? I think the email's so nice. It was like, I'm sorry that I haven't got back to you of late, type of thing. And
I genuinely think, like, I mean, he's probably, like, I don't know, I don't want to get proven wrong, but, like, this is why I don't put faith in people. But I think Phil Spencer's seems like a genuinely nice guy.
He comes across that, there's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Who would have thought the guy who literally got sent out on the 2013 E3 conference for Xbox to reveal the price of the Xbox One, and it was literal audible wah, wah, wah. You could literally see him like, this is where I knew I fucked up. Why did I agree to go out and say this price when we knew what PlayStation were about to do, and 6 hours later?
It's fine though, because they could just blame it on Dawn. So,
and then he saw a shiny Dawn and went, "Look, this is what you will do in the future." God came down to him that day.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
All this suffering will be for a reason, Phil. But no, yeah, he's going to give it a try. I think if PlayStation had different leadership in it, like Sean Layden, I think they might have had a chance to try and do this. Because I believe like Phil and Sean had a really good relationship, and still do to this day and everything like that, but obviously different sides, and if they had a really good relationship. Nintendo's a thing. They are very particular. We all know they are. Like Nintendo, we said many times in this episode already, they're in their own world. Nintendo are doing Nintendo, like what we always say. So I know a lot of people like praying to God.
Between them, though. We have seen cross collaboration between Nintendo and Microsoft.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And they would have asked the question, Microsoft, and any chance you want to maybe get this Game Pass on your thing, maybe, or something like that, or iOS type thing? I think Nintendo just don't want to do it, and I don't think. I'm not gonna lie, I just think the Japanese companies just don't want to do it.
They'll come around. They'll all come around. Epic expects Epic Games Store to be profitable by 2024. I don't know. It's the accompanying story of that.
I saw people were surprised to hear this. I was thinking,
I don't know why. Yeah,
they've spent billions on this freaking thing. Are you surprised that it says that it's going to take a lot? It's like, wait, it's going to take it this long? It's like,
I saw people saying like, what? I saw people like confusing it as saying like Epic Games expect Epic to be profitable by 2024, and it's like no, Epic is profitable right now. Like
Yep.
the way it works is businesses have divisions for their different things, and the Epic Game Store is currently a division of Epic that is not profitable. They also
Yep.
license the most ubiquitous game engine in video games to the biggest companies in the market, and have Fortnite money. Speaking of profit, Microsoft confirms it's never turned a profit on sale of Xbox consoles. The Epic Games v Apple trial, blah blah. The latest is that Microsoft has never made profit from the sale of console hardware. This may not be the most surprising news of all time, given consoles are in the games industry have traditionally been sold at a loss. But you rarely hear companies admit this out loud. Xbox Vice President Lori Wright was called in as a third-party witness for the trial, where she was asked questions about the console market. In response to a question from Epic lawyer Wes Earnhardt asking how much margin Microsoft earns on the sale of Xbox consoles, Wright said, quote, "We don't. We sell the consoles at a loss," end quote. Asked if Microsoft has ever earned a profit on the sale of an Xbox console, Wright replied, "No." The reason Epic was discussing Xbox profitability was to establish that the game console market is significantly different from the mobile market, thus justifying the 70-30 revenue split on Xbox and PlayStation due to how console makers turn a profit. Epic has argued that Apple's 30% cut of in-game microtransactions is anti-competitive and monopolistic, while Apple argues its fees are in line with other platforms like Steam, Google Play, and the Xbox and PlayStation stores. Now, just Apple. Xbox and PlayStation don't charge £1,200 for their consoles. Just throwing that out there. We know you make.
That's true.
We know you make profit on each handset. Xbox and PlayStation don't make profit on their consoles. They're called I know Apple knows this, but I feel like I'm going to explain it to them in simple terms because I want to belittle them a little bit for the point that they're trying to make. These are what are called loss leaders, where you sell a thing at a loss that will then make its money back via other things like subscriptions and game sales, licensing agreements. I mean, I figured Apple would know this, but apparently it needs to be explained to them.
When it comes to Apple, they're just sticking to the Steve Jobs mentality, which he built into it himself. But this is not a surprise, like I said. Like, how many times have we said that? Well, I've said that this episode alone. We should have a counter for that.
I could be bothered. Ding! But no, yeah, you're right. It's not a surprise. Like we like,
yeah,
that's how games consoles work. Like games consoles would be prohibitively expensive if they were sold at a profit. The idea is if you buy an Xbox Series X and then Xbox takes a loss of however much it is, but everything you buy on that platform adds to that pot and fills it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like you buy Game Pass for a year, that's profit for Xbox.
Yeah.
You buy an Apex Legends Battle Pass, that's profit for Xbox. You buy Resident Evil Village on Xbox, that's profit for Xbox. That's how it works. And then eventually that pot gets filled up and then they start turning a profit on you.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
That's how the Force works.
That is how the Force works.
That is exactly how the Force works. No doubt about that. But I'm just going to say like that. So if you always take a lost Xbox, God, if you always take a lost Xbox, couldn't you have just put the prices down a little bit more for us? Come on, you're not going to get it back through consoles anyway.
250 quid for an Xbox Series S is pretty fucking reasonable, if you ask me.
I'm not denying it, but I was thinking more the X, but whatever.
I mean, the X.
Potatoes. But okay, yeah. It's
yeah.
We have nothing to say there.
No, I thought I would explain it because people sometimes get confused where it's like, well, why do they sell it at a loss? Surely that's bad business. No, it's great business because they get you in. They get you in the door. They want you in that ecosystem. So you're spending money in that ecosystem. I guarantee, if I'm not there yet with PS5, I'm close to the point where I am profitable for PlayStation, even though they lost money selling me the PlayStation 5 because I've bought so many games on there. And yeah, so subscribe. That was it. I was going to subscribe to Game Pass on Play. No, subscribe to PS Plus on PlayStation, etc., etc. Last one. The courts opened up a way for listeners to hear the ongoing legal proceedings, but failed to make sure the line was secure. Instead of just listening, Fortnite fans were given unlimited power and were able to talk directly to those in-house. Since this is the gaming community we're talking about, chaos ensued. It was pretty hilarious. I think this was Liana Rupert who wrote this. The normally somber room was suddenly filled with gamers begging for Fortnite Mobile to be restored and a large number of fans chanting free Fortnite. Others blasted Travis Scott songs, a clear homage to the in-game concert featuring the artist last year. It was pretty funny.
I never heard this happen.
Didn't know I was right at the beginning of the trial. Because you could listen, so like you can listen to it. I've listened to a bit of it. It's kind of boring because it's a trial, but at the very beginning, like people realized they could, like the lie, because the lie wasn't secure, they could just talk. So you had a bunch of Fortnite kids just shouting free Fortnite and playing songs off of the thing, and then I think it was the judge was just like, how do we mute the audience? It was admittedly, it was kind of funny. Like, it just caused absolute chaos.
It's
probably on YouTube or something at this point.
Probably, yeah, it will be. But I don't want to give that a look, so I won't.
No, I mean, the whole free Fortnite thing and Epic, like, mobilizing, we'll go with its young audience into its war with Apple is pretty sketchy. Like, so yeah, there is a layer of that where it's just like, this isn't great from like a conscience standpoint. But we're done. We made it. We're done talking about Apple versus Epic.
But we're not done talking
about
it.
Not even close. This has been a week for news. Yep. Like, there's a Jason Schreier story that's like fucking 10 stories down. That's how big a fucking week this has been. Sony, this isn't the Jason Schreier story, I should point out. Sony is working to integrate Discord into PlayStation consoles. This is from Chem Gartenberg over at The Verge. He writes, PlayStation is now partnering with Discord, the popular online communication service, with a promise to, quote, bring the Discord and PlayStation experiences closer together on console and mobile starting early next year, end quote. Details on what that would actually entail are slim, and Sony's announcement just says the companies are, quote, hard at work connecting Discord with your social and gaming experience on PlayStation Network, end quote. Whether that means a full-fledged Discord app coming to PlayStation consoles or a more limited integration like connecting PSN and Discord accounts to more easily chat with friends off-platform has yet to be announced. As part of the new partnership, Sony is investing an unspecified amount into Discord as part of its Series H investment round as a minority investor. And then there's a bunch of stuff about Discord. Well, this explains why the talks broke down between Microsoft and Discord.
Yeah, this was a bit surprising when I saw this. There's no doubt about that. Like, but even before the whole thing about Microsoft were wanting to maybe to buy them anyway, were rumors that Discord were wanting to stay private anyway, or wanting to go not private, wanting
to stay independent. Which
independent, yeah.
This was the route, right? Like one of their investors was Sony, so it's like the route to staying. Damn it! Now I was going to say private. The route to staying an independent company is this route.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's going to be interesting how it's integrated into PlayStation Network or whatever, or if it's going to be a standalone app. It's also, I would say, lazy down. This is probably going to be a process that's going to be looking better when PlayStation 6 comes around compared to when this finally comes out next year and everything. And whatnot. So
it starts next year. Like it'll start with you'll be able to sign in Discord with your PlayStation ID.
Probably, yeah.
It'll end with, I don't know whether there's going to be a Discord app or whether they're just going to use the technology that Discord uses for voice chatting to power their party chat, because their party chat's not that good.
That's what I'm saying. That they needed to sort something, and obviously they see that they need to as well. So they're obviously going to the biggest thing out there, Discord.
There you go,
We
right?
use Discord for recording right now, and
Yeah, we
everything
are
to chat
literally on
through.
Discord right now. Like the Sony
So,
strategy meeting was, we need to figure out how to do party chat, like because the quality is really bad on our party chat. It's not really bad, but it's not great, like compared to.
and I bet they've also probably seen a bit. I was thinking, how many people are playing on PlayStations but actually aren't using our PlayStation Network party chat
Yeah, right.
and actually using Discord?
Actually,
Wait,
just
there's
using
this, but
Discord.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah, how many numbers does that?
it was just like
Oh
they said,
crap! Can we invest here or something?
they're just sitting there in the strategy meeting, and they're like, okay, what if we just like invested in in a third party voice chat app? What's the biggest third party voice chat app? Zoom. Who owns that? And then there's just silence in the boardroom. Maybe we should go with the
And it's
next
just like
biggest
someone
one.
goes up to them and says,
Maybe,
"What?"
and then maybe we should go to the second biggest, and someone says, "What's the second biggest?" Teams. Who owns that?
Silent pause.
What about this FaceTime I've heard so much about? Oh, we could do Skype. Skype. But everyone knows Skype. Like they're just working their way down the list of just like one's like, oh shit, no, we can't use that. Like the joke got away from me.
It did a little bit, yeah. But no, either way, intriguing. See what happens and everything like that. I hope it fixes the party chat because, like I say, it's garbage. We know it is. So, but it's going to be a steady thing. It's not going to be a thing that's going to be fixed instantly, ladies and gentlemen. So,
Podcast hosting 101. When you've done this for hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of hours, sometimes it's important just to amuse yourself and nobody else.
maybe does that every episode, is it?
It's been 255 episodes. And I haven't had a break for so long. Cyberpunk managers still win big bonuses after shoddy game launch. This is Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg, who writes, Cyberpunk 2077 was the video game industry's biggest flop of 2020. I wasn't doing anything with that cough where I paused. I just realized where I paused when I said it. I'm not doing anything. There was no hidden meaning. Its myriad glitches fueled with the internet's meme machine, and Sony still refuses to sell the game through its online store. Yet the executives who run the Polish studio that made the game will nonetheless receive millions of dollars in bonuses this year. The rest of the staff will also get bonuses, but some of them expected bigger ones and may have gotten more if the game's release had been delayed until it was ready as they'd asked. If developers had some more time to work out the kinks and bugs, then CD Projekt SA would likely have sold more games, leading to higher profit. Instead, management pushed the game out anyway. Pay disparities between executives and their employees is a perennial issue throughout the business world, made more urgent by the coronavirus pandemic, during which millions of people lost their jobs. The typical CEO among the 1,000 biggest publicly traded companies in the US receives 144 times more than their median employee, according to data compiled by Bloomberg. Thanks to a lot of marketing hype, Cyberpunk, a sci-fi dystopia starring Keanu Reeves, I forgot he was in it, you know.
Well, I think Keanu Reeves has, so don't worry.
Sold 13 million copies in the first 10 days after its December launch, but that was less than analysts were expecting. Cyberpunk's score on Metacritic, a review aggregation site, was a paltry 57 out of 100 for the maligned PS4 version. That doesn't exist anymore. Cyberpunk Project CEO Marcin Iwinski made a public mea culpa about the state of the game. Yet Iwinski...
Oh, yeah, he did all right.
Sorry if you were offended type mea culpa. Yet Iwinski and co-CEO Adam Kaczynski are each slated to receive a bonus of 24 million zloty, or $6.3 million, according to the company's annual report. Adam Badowski, a board member and the director of Cyberpunk 2077, will take home $4.2 million. These bonuses, part of an annual profit-sharing plan, are based on the company's 2020 net earnings, which jumped more than 500%. Let's break down these numbers. Of CD Projekt's annual earnings, 20% is allocated to profit-sharing bonuses, with 10% going to employees and 10% going to the board, according to the company. Some employees told Bloomberg they will receive profit-sharing bonuses of about $5,000 and $9,000, while other more senior employers said they will get closer to $15,000 or $20,000. Managers and directors will likely receive much higher bonuses. In a statement, a CD Projekt spokesperson said the company had allocated a total of $29.8 million to 865 employees for an average of about $34,000 each. Do I have to do the thing where I explain how averages work in a really basic fashion? In contrast, just 5 of CD Projekt's board members received bonuses totaling $28 million. CD Projekt executives did take a financial hit this year. 4 board members own roughly 33% of the company's stock, which has plummeted 57% since Cyberpunk's launch, but they'll also receive more in a year of bonuses than many workers will be paid in a lifetime. When asked on the investor call last week whether it was appropriate for the board to take such hefty bonuses, Kaczynski said that their compensation had always been tied to the company's profits. Quote, "We earned this money." We earned this money, and the company earned this money, of course, but more net profits, more bonuses. So, well, we have results, we get bonuses, and that's the contract we have, end quote. We earned this money. Yeah, sure, mate. Sure you did. 5 people got almost the same amount as 865 other people, who probably put more work into the game than those 5 people.
Because all of those people were telling them, delay this fucking game, you absolute bloody morons.
Well, we know they were because we read that report.
Yeah, we did, yeah. This is just typical thing in any place when it comes to the management or CEOs or whatever they are in any businesses. Like bloody the idiot for freaking Activision took home $200 million this year or last year.
Oh, Bobby Kotick. He like cut his pay by 50%, and everyone was like, "See, he cut his pay." And it's like that's not where he gets his money from, guys. Like that does not matter.
That's definitely not how the force works.
That's not how the force works. The interesting twist to this is, I guess, is that CD Projekt Red was different. It was the AAA company that was for the gamers. It was the cool AAA company that did things differently from the other AAA companies that you hate. Like that was their thing, right? So
yeah,
it's nice to point out that no, they're the same.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Like it is a kick in the teeth. It is disgusting. It's absolutely vile, especially with. I wouldn't have minded this if this was The Witcher 3. I don't think. Because one, all the employees would guess the number would still have been big and everything like that. And that still should have been something that needs to be sorted in general in workplaces. I'll always argue for that. The pay gap between highs and lows needs to shrink like crazy and where everybody's earning a good percentage. And I can appreciate like managers deserve to earn more and everything like that. I don't mind that whatsoever. But
there's more. And then
there's more. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, there's a different amount when it comes to more and everything. Yeah. But no, like if this was Witcher 3, I would completely understand this. This is Cyberpunk, what was one of the most anticipated games last year, which fell so flat on its ass, it went through its ass and came back out the other side.
Which is impressive because it was also so far up its own arse that it could see
daylight. That's how impressive it was, ladies and gentlemen. And then the whole thing which we talked about, where they threw QAs under their bus, and even now they threw the team under the bus and everything because
he threw so many people under the bus.
Yeah, and then so many underneath the bus, especially when he says, "I am the boss. I take responsibility," but also these people didn't do their job properly. It's like, wait, that's
these people didn't do their job properly, and ignore this $6 million check behind me.
Yeah, and everything. It's just like. This type of thing is disgusting. It's vile, and especially like that these people have profited from a game that is so broken. I can't say it's bad because I've never played it. So, but I'm only going off from people who have read and everything like that who say the game is not so good, but people have enjoyed it. Okay, well done to you people and everything like that. But the game's broken as hell, and probably won't be properly fixed until probably the end of the year, if not sometime 2022. So, and because of this, it's delaying their release delaying their chances to move on to their next game because of this complete and utter mess up and fuck up. So, whatever you were hoping to possibly be getting if they were going back to The Witcher next or whatever, or another new IP, or heck, a Cyberpunk 2078 or whatever, a sequel to it. That's not going to happen. We're not going to see a new CD Projekt Red game until probably the end of the bloody PlayStation 6 and the X series Xbox Series console life cycle, for God's sakes, because of this complete and utter mess that they got themselves into. And they deserve that. They deserve to be in this mess because of their complete and lackluster, so far up their own ass that they smelt it so much. They can bugger off, man. They really can. CD Projekt Red, you can get yourselves back, and you can just be getting me to go, yes, well done, you've gone brilliant. But you're so far up your own ass, I'm not going to be able to see your head for a while.
The Witcher
Bugger
3
off, that's all I'm saying.
The Witcher 3 sold about 6 million copies within its first 6 weeks. 30 million so far, like, total by April.
And they all were, and they were so pro-consumer for a lot of things, like the DLCs and stuff.
But this is
were all were going to be free. And they did expansions, which were not just, they were huge expansions, like game alone themselves type of expansions, which you were like, you know what? They like this is not just a DLC story pack. This is a fucking whole new expansion level. Where I'm gonna, I respect paying money for that.
It's all a part of that image I was talking about them being like, we're different. It's they released what I would class as like an old school expansion, right? Like when you used to get expansions for RPGs. That felt like, significant. That sometimes could feel like sequels. You were just getting it as an expansion. And they had that letter. I remember because I bought the game physically. You got that letter in it where it was like, they were thanking people for coming along on this journey with them and for supporting them all the way at The Witcher 3. They were that company that was trying to cultivate a positive image with the video game community. And it wasn't over the course of just launching Cyberpunk 2077. It was for a couple of years leading up to that launch. They very slowly soured a lot of it with a lot of people. And now here we are. But they still get loads of money for that. Like, they may have tanked their company's reputation for a long time to come. But it's cool because they made bank. So I guess it's fuck you got mine from the CD Projekt Red management and board. And to the person who was arguing with Jason Schreier about how the bonus scheme worked last year, who will remain nameless, because I don't like calling individual people out, who said, "Oh, they're all going to make everybody who works at CD Projekt Red is going to make so much money off of this game." I can't believe you believe that, and I can't believe many years ago I used to think you were an intelligent human being. That's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah, I used to think that guy was smart. Anyway, speaking of not smart, we've got a trio of news stories. Is it a trio or is it a duo? We've got a duo of news stories that kind of link together. Call of Duty King, there's a comma, Call of Duty King, push Activision Blizzard to record Q1 revenues. Remember when we said a few weeks ago, and we're just waiting for them to say that they made record revenues again? Well, here we are. This is from Brendan Sinclair over at Games Industry Upbase. He writes, the Call of Duty grows ever louder for Activision Blizzard as a big first quarter for the shooter franchise led the overall company to its biggest first quarter sales ever. Activision Blizzard reported its financial results for the 3 months ended March 31st, showing net revenues for the company up 27% to $2.28 billion. Net bookings were up 36% to $2.07 billion, while net income rose 23% to $619 million. Activision Publishing was the biggest contributor to those results, posting revenues up 72% year-on-year thanks to the combined performance of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, as well as the free-to-play offerings of Call of Duty Warzone and Call of Duty Mobile. The company said Call of Duty premium sales for the first quarter were well above the levels typically seen in the first quarter, noting the integration of Cold War with Warzone product as one driver of that. Additionally, Call of Duty Mobile made its debut in China, introducing tens of billions of new players to the franchise. They appear to be paying for the free-to-play game at a higher rate than usual, as Activision and Chinese player investment in the first quarter was roughly equal to that of the rest of the world combined. Those additional Chinese mobile players also played a significant role in driving Activision's total monthly active users up 47% to a new record of 150 million. King was the next biggest contributor to Activision Blizzard sales, with revenues up 22% to $609 million, a new record for the segment. The growth was chalked up to a strong performance by the Candy Crush franchises. Despite the higher sales of more than 30 million downloads for Crash Bandicoot on the Run since its March debut, King's total monthly active users decreased 5% to 258 million. Blizzard revenue was up 7%, $483 million, with that growth attributed to the Warcraft franchise and a combination of the Shadowlands expansion and World of Warcraft Classic. The company also reiterated that Diablo 2 Resurrected and the mobile offering Diablo Immortal are slated for release this year, with the former receiving very positive feedback in early testing. Blizzard also saw monthly active users down year over year, dropping 16% to 27 million. I'm not going to read the rest of it. Bobby Kotick quotes, but Activision made bank. They made so much bank. And they will continue to tell you that video games are really expensive to make while making $600 million in profit.
And while also not investing it properly into their teams and everything and making the wage gap even more better for everybody. And I don't care. I'm just going to say that. I don't care. The last story kind of sucked the life out of me a little bit, so I don't care. Congratulations. You made money, Activision. Wow. Are we surprised? No. There's another ding to the dong of are you surprised type of thing. I don't care right now. Pissed off Activision and Blizzard. Pissed off Bobby Kotick.
Okay.
Kotick, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Pissed off. I don't care.
Well, speaking of Activision Blizzard, Toys for Bob reportedly suffers layoffs as it moves to support Call of Duty Warzone. This is from James Batchelor over at GamesIndustry.biz. He writes, Activision-owned studio Toys for Bob has reportedly dismissed an unknown number of staff. The layoffs appear to have occurred as the developer has shifted to support development for Call of Duty Warzone, having announced its involvement on the game via Twitter yesterday, or last week sometime. Nicholas Cole, a character designer who was contracted to work for Toys for Bob on Crash Bandicoot 4 until January this year, shared the news and called it the end of an era. Responding to another Twitter user, Cole added that everyone, quote, everyone I interfaced with and worked along was let go, but added, it's not a total shuttering. End quote. It's not known how many other employees have been affected, although Blake Maloof, who worked at the studio as a game designer for more than a decade, indicated that they have also been made redundant. It's also unclear whether Toys for Bob's role in Call of Duty is only for Season 3 of Warzone or if it's permanent. Most, if not all, spoiler alert, it's all, Activision studios now work on Call of Duty, following the shift for Toys for Bob and the decision to merge Tony Hawk's developer Vicarious Visions into Blizzard. Toys for Bob was originally founded in 1989 with 1990s sci-fi classic Star Control as its debut release. It also created and evolved the Skylanders franchise. In more recent years, the team developed the Spyro Reignited trilogy, the Switch version of Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy, and last year's Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time. And it most certainly was about time. Update. Activision has denied that there have been any downsizing at Toys for Bob. A representative told GamesIndustry.biz, quote, reports of layoffs of Toys for Bob are incorrect. There has not been a reduction in personnel recently at the studio. The development team is operating fully and has a number of full-time job openings at this time. The studio is excited to continue supporting Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, and more recently provide additional development support to Call of Duty Warzone.
If the development team was operating fully, you wouldn't have had a number of full-time job openings at all. Activision, so you can get pissed off about this. This is like what says, like it says in what is it?
Didn't think of that.
What does it say? Most, if not all, like you said, it's all. Activision studios are all kicked on to Call of Duty, ladies and gentlemen. Call of Duty is their main thing. We all know it is. It's the thing that makes bank. It's the thing that makes them bank every single time. And are we surprised when they buy another studio? Everyone will be like, oh, they've got Activision money. They're going to create such great games. Yeah, for about 1 year, and then they'll be dragged over into either fused into Activision to be moved into one of their things, or moved on to, or to sack people and then kick straight onto Call of Duty. It's how they do these things. That's how their monopoly works, basically, and that's what they want to do. I feel for Nicholas Cole, character design and everything like that. I hope she lands on her feet and everything, and like everyone else who has been fired or made redundant, I hope they all land on their feet as soon as possible and everything. But this is not a surprise. You get bought by Activision, you know what's going to happen. You know what's inevitable. They're like literally Activision. This is the best way to say it for us. Activision are literally the fucking Borg.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Here we go. Studios. I'm remembering. High Moon Studios. Remember High Moon Studios? Remember Beanox? Those are the ones that are still up and I'm working on Call of Duty. There's other ones.
Isn't it Treyarch?
Treyarch, were they always? No, they couldn't have always been a Call of Duty studio because they've been around longer than Call of Duty. Oh, they made Spider-Man games, and now they make Call of Duty. Yeah, there's like a bunch of divested studios as well. Vicarious Visions merged into Blizzard. Swordfish Studios, sold to Codemasters. Massive Entertainment, sold to Ubisoft. Neversoft, remember Neversoft?
Like, if all the people who loved the remaster of Tony Hawk last year, you're never going to get another one, just so you know. Like, them merging it into Blizzard, literally, that's telling you, no, we give you what you wanted, that's it. We give you the bare minimum, and that's all we were going to do.
Literally every studio at Activision Blizzard either works on Blizzard games or Call of Duty. That's the line. Nobody is working on a new Crash, on a new Spyro, on a new Tony Hawk game. Like, I don't even know, like, what other IPs are they just fucking sitting on with, like, no intentions of doing anything? It's not Spider-Man anymore, thank God. I guess Guitar Hero is something they did as well back in the day.
Mm-hmm. It's just one of those things, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's just Activision sucks. But like the fact that like people have been laid off and then Activision have been like reports of layoffs at Toys for Bob are incorrect. So why would people lie? Why would the people like who have said on Twitter that they've been made redundant? There was no mincing of words, right? They didn't mix their words. Why would they go on Twitter and lie about it?
I don't know.
And bearing in mind, I'm following this report. I put these in a very strategic place because I'm following this report up with Activision posted record revenue for Q1 2021. Like it's like the fucking sun and the moon, the cycle of the fucking planet. It's like you can set your clock to Activision announcing record revenues and firing people. And I didn't even think about what you said, where it's like they can't possibly have been operating fully if they have full-time job openings. Yeah, you're right. Of course they couldn't. I didn't even think of that. But yeah, it's just like you've laid people off and you make a fucking ridiculous amount of money. Like, and then you will turn around and tell me that video games are too expensive to make and we'll just make the one profitable one. Bullshit.
Video games only expensive to make because you're making them expensive to make. You know when you say we need to throw $200 million into a video game, why do you need to throw $200 million into a video game? What do you actually need? I'm not saying they aren't cheap. I'll say that right now. We know they aren't cheap, ladies and gentlemen. But like you throw out a 4-hour campaign. A 4-hour campaign, Call of Duty. Sometimes you don't even throw out a 4-hour campaign. So literally, I have to question this. I'm thinking, I bet, and a lot of it's a copy and paste assets. Like we all know that happens in the industry anyway.
The fucking story's a copy and paste, man. Like we talked about it on the friggin' podcast last year when I reviewed Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War and how incredibly annoyed I was with the campaign because it had great ideas that it then never capitalized on because it just decided, oh no, fuck that. That's too fucking complicated. Let's just shoot people. Like And it's like the foundation is there for Call of Duty to do some really interesting things, and it just never follows through on it.
Yep, never does it.
Um,
You want to talk about Nintendo?
I'm trying to find, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. Like you were just talking there, like they're throwing $200 million into this game.
I was just throwing pitch spawn.
No, I'm trying to find something else because it's probably more than that. But I'm trying to find, like, I was thinking, like, my favorite game of this year so far could not have had a big budget. Probably a tenth, like 10% of what the number you just attributed to Call of Duty, which may or may not be conservative, but yeah, it's just like you don't need massive amounts of money to make freaking great games.
It's proven with the indie games every time.
Like my favorite games of the year, Monster Hunter aside, aren't big budget games.
I can say this right now, ladies and gentlemen. Okay,
Ooh,
I can create a video game right now. I have the software to create a video game, and I can put it on a site if I wanted to. Yes, it would be under Valve because it's the simpler way to get it on these days, but I can do that. And you know how easy it is? And you know how much it costs me? Now.
Your time
now.
I'd say your time is valuable.
Time? Yes. But does it cost me anything out of my wallet? No.
No. I could be difficult. I'm going to choose not to be. I was going to be like, what if you eat while you're developing your game? Does that not count?
Don't be a smart ass. Don't try and ruin my point here.
Switch.
Like, I know.
Okay, sorry. No. You. I didn't realize you had more.
No, let's move on. Let's go.
Okay,
let's go.
I think it's better for a bit. I think we're good now. I did the shit sandwich approach again, where I just compressed it all in the middle. Switch nears 85 million in record year for Nintendo. This is from Tom Ivan over at VGC, who writes, Switch has now shipped almost 85 million units following a record year for Nintendo. Lifetime Switch shipments were 84.59 million units as of March 31st, 2021, which marks the end of Nintendo's fiscal year, up 4.72 million units from 79.87 million as of December 31st, 2020. Nintendo said on Thursday that fourth quarter hardware sell-through to consumers exceeded the record high posted in Q4 of last year, and that global cumulative sales, as opposed to shipments, totaled over 81 million units at the end of March. The company reported annual revenue of $16.59 billion, up 34% year over year, and the highest total in over a decade. Operating profit totaled $6.04 billion, up 81.8% year over year, and the highest the company has ever recorded. Nintendo shipped 28.83 million Switch units in its last full fiscal year, and said on Thursday that it expects to ship 25.50 million in the current one ending in March 2022, a total that would see the system overtake Wii to become Nintendo's best-selling home console to date. I'm going to do some maths on that when I finish reading this. Software sales reached 230.88 million for the year ended March 31st, which represents an increase of 36.8% year on year. Nintendo said 36 Switch games sold over 1 million units in the 12-month period, including 22 Nintendo titles and 14 titles from other software publishers. I'm going to skip that because I've got a chart at the bottom. Nintendo said digital sales, full digital downloads, DLC, and Switch Online accounted for 42.8% of total software sales during the full fiscal year, compared to 34% in previous year. Nintendo's best-selling first-party games from April 1st, 2020 to March 31st, 2021 were, number 1, Animal Crossing New Horizons, which sold 20.85 million units. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at number 2 with 10 million. I'm just going to round these up and down, just for the sake of me not just throwing number soup at people. Number 3 was Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which has already sold 9 million units. It came out in January. Ring Fit Adventure sold 7.4. Nintendo Super Mario 3D plus Bowser's Fury, which is the one that actually came out in January. My mistake, sold 5.5 million. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate sold 5 million. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sold 4.8. Super Mario Party sold 4.7. Super Mario Bros. Deluxe sold 3.8. Pokemon Sword and Shield sold 3.7. Do you want me to go down the other rest I've done the top 10. Do you want me to go
Nope.
down the bottom 10?
A lot of games, a lot of money. Congratulations,
Like,
Nintendo.
Hyrule Warriors was new. That sold 3 million.
Paper Mario.
Paper Mario was new. It sold 3 million. The best-selling Switch game lifetime is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. 35.3 million. 12 months from now, it will be Animal Crossing New Horizons, which is lifetime to date 32.6 million. It's right there. It's right there. Remember when 12 months ago we read this out and we asked the question, is Animal Crossing going to eventually be the top selling Switch game?
I think we both said no.
I think we did, but like it sold double the amount of Mario Kart 8 in the last year. It's 3 million away. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's very impressive. Like Nintendo, they just throw out they throw out some like top quality games. I'll always argue that they keep their prices so high on digital all the time. Like Mario Kart 8 is still like 50 quid on digital for them, and it's like been out 3 years now and whatnot.
Wrong.
It's kind of a pain in the ass for that personally, because that's why basically I get my Nintendo games physically more because it's easier for me. But no, yeah, Nintendo.
I mean, a lot of people do.
You think?
That's one interesting fact. Sorry, just to interrupt you. That is one interesting fact that I wanted to note in here. Their digital to physical sales split is still less than 50%.
Yeah.
Which we've been seeing as a trend, like on other, like from other publishers talking about it and other platforms which are talking about a much higher split. So a lot more people on Nintendo specifically are still buying physical games as opposed to.
Yeah. So
digital.
One question I want to throw out here is: do you think it's going to catch the PlayStation 4?
Well, this is the quick math. This is the maths I was just doing. I'm taking their projections for the next 12 months, and I'm adding them to what they've already shipped. And now I'm going to look up best-selling video game consoles. Because let's not forget, they haven't had their PS4 Pro moment yet. They haven't released their revised hardware yet. The Switch Pro that we're all anticipating coming, which will give them a sales boost. So let's have a look at the chart here. So I've done the maths. I've added what they've shipped versus what they expect to ship, which would bring the total up to 110 million, which would put it past the Wii. It's currently
just under the PlayStation.
Just under the PS3. So
PS3 sold over 100 million units.
It sold 87.4. The Switch has only sold 84.5. So it's just behind the PS3. It's just behind the Wii, and so if they do their forecast by this time next year, or like by March next year, they'll have sold more than PS3. They'll have sold more than Wii. They'll have sold more than PlayStation. They'll be right behind PS4. The Game Boy, the DS, and then the PS2. There's a big jump between Game Boy and DS, though. Like if they do 110 million by March 31st, 2022, they'll be 5 million behind PS4 currently. Now PS4 still sells, so
and we also probably, and there's rumors of like that new console possibly beginning next year.
Yeah, like if the Switch Pro comes out at the end of this year, beginning of next year, whatever. Like the Switch life cycle is still a few years, I think. It's still 2 or 3 good years left in it of sales. I don't think they have to worry about getting past PS4. I think that's going to happen inevitably. My question to you, Moody, is does the Nintendo Switch, by the time it's finished its life cycle, become the best-selling video game console of all time?
It's the biggest one. That's PlayStation 2.
PlayStation 2, 155 million.
No.
Because if it gets to 110 by 2022, and then there's a Switch Pro bump for 2023, which you got to assume would at least keep them to another 25 mil. Like, ish. That would put them to say 135.
I think it'll get close, but I don't think it'll get there.
That would put them above the Game Boy. And then basically from there, it's 154 million for the DS and 155 million for the PS2. So it's the same for both. I think it's easily the third best-selling console of all time. I think you can do
agree
it.
with
I
that.
think you can do it. I think a lot of people are going to double dip on the Switch Pro.
I won't lie, I'll probably buy one. So
And I won't need to.
that means we're going half.
We're going to go halves on everything. It's going to be great.
Basically, yeah.
I'm going to be able to afford so much stuff. Okay. Humble Bundle rolls back plan to remove charity sliders. This is from Danielle Partis over at GamesIndustry.biz, who writes, Humble Bundle has reversed the decision to get rid of charity sliders from its website. These sliders allow users to flexibly adjust what percentage of a donation goes towards charities, publishers, and Humble, respectively. Last month, the company unveiled plans to remove the sliders in favour of two static options that only let users allocate 5% or 15% of the total donation to charity. However, Humble has opted to keep the sliders as they are following feedback from the community, and then they quoted and they were like, we listened to everybody's feedback. Yeah, whatever.
Even if they didn't, I think this is a good thing at the
This
end
is
of
a
the day,
good
isn't
thing. Yeah, like Humble Bundle's whole thing.
I know
was
you were angry at this.
I was
but-
very angry with this because Humble Bundle's whole thing is like you buy your games, you buy your bundles. They were always really cool. Especially like in sort of like 2013, 14, it was a really big deal. And you have the three sliders, right? So you can choose what percentage of the money you're spending goes to charity, goes to the developers, goes to Humble. And you can set it however you want to set it. So the fact that they were taking that away, and by default, the change would have been 5% goes to charity, no matter what. And you could set it, and it was hidden in the UI of the basket or whatever. You could raise that to 15%, and that just makes Humble fucking pointless. Like, compared to what it was, it's like, I'll just give the money to charity, thanks.
Yeah. Idiots has been idiots as always, trying to get a little percentage for themselves, that it's obviously slapped them in the face, and now they've gone back to the thing that works.
I think it's going to have a knock-on effect as well, because I think a lot of people who would slide that Humble slider up a bit when they were buying stuff will probably not bother now.
Probably, yeah. And they would have deserved that hit, and they should take it on the chin. So,
Abso-fucking-lutely.
I don't think you need to read the next one. I think you should.
Konami skipping E3 2021.
Yeah, okay. That's all we need to know.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, we don't really care. So,
Oh no, I'm not going to see Pro Evolution Soccer.
I forget they do that sometimes.
You cannot convince me Konami is making any games. I'm sorry, you just can't. I don't believe you.
Yeah, they're called the
Pro
Pachinko
Evolution
machines.
Soccer. Pachinko machines.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but no. We want to reassure our fans that we are deep in development on a number of key projects.
Pro Evolution this year and Pro Evolution next year.
Pro Evolution forever.
It obviously does enough.
No, it does.
Enough
Yeah, it
money
does
for
money.
them
Like,
to
I'm
be
not-
able to constantly do it, because FIFA always knocks them out of the park.
And I'm not. I don't want to like anyone to feel like I'm talking down on anyone who enjoys Pro Evolution Soccer. Like, my bitterness and saltiness comes from the fact that they're sitting on some of the most beloved gaming IPs on the planet and refuse to do anything with them other than make them pachinko machines. So, like, you say they're skipping E3 2021, and I shrug and go, okay, I don't care, because, like, even the last games that they've made that weren't Pro Evolution Soccer were fucking dreadful. I remember Metal Gear Survive. No one else remembers it, but I remember it. Oh, God, I remember it. Let's talk about something worthwhile. Nintendo announces Game Builder Garage, a quirky programming game for Switch. This is from Thomas Whitehead over at Nintendo Life, who writes, Nintendo... Was it Labo or Labo? It's Labo, right?
I always said Labo, yeah.
Okay. Nintendo Labo has many charms, though the range may be on the way out, but one legacy of its software seems to be surviving in a new game announcement from Nintendo. Excuse me. It's unveiled Game Builder Garage, which arrives on 11th of June with a price tag of $29.99 US. It's a set of tools that allow anyone to learn how to make games and expands on a similar idea seen in the Labo series in its Garage functionality. Garage. It'll feature guided lessons to make specific games or a free programming mode where you can take what you've learned to the next level. In terms of sharing creations, the official website says you'll be able to exchange codes to download games created by others. It even says you'll be able to look at the programming behind downloaded games and use this feature to work with friends. And some small print confirms you can use a compatible USB mouse with the software, which could be very useful for docked play. This is cool.
I don't know much about this, so I'm just gonna. I'm not. I heard about it this morning from one of my
It was a
colleagues at
today thing.
college.
This was a
So I haven't had a chance to have a look at it or anything. So yay, yeah, well, making games is brilliant. I'll say that right now, ladies and
making
gentlemen.
games
If
is fun.
anyone, if they're able to if this helps the next generation, brilliant. Well done.
This is what's cool because it's a Nintendo thing, right? Like I have to assume that like this could, and because it's only $30 as well, like, and it's Nintendo, so it's going to be accessible because everything Nintendo makes is pretty
Successful.
simple to use.
Yeah.
When it comes to like creation tools, like Labo was pretty simple to do, right? Like this could help kids get into game design.
Yeah.
Without having to like learn Unity or C++ or whatever. Blender? Is that a thing?
Yeah, Blender's a 3D tool.
See? Look, I make videos about games, alright? I don't know how to make them. I make videos about the finished product.
That's why she's still waiting for Cyberpunk to be finished.
Yeah, that's why I never played Cyberpunk. We're going to high five so much when we live together. Like, if we have a setup where we're sitting next to each other while we're doing this podcast, you're just going to constantly see us just like, high five. But like in real life, you'll be like sitting there and we'll just like.
We'll have to have a third camera just to see the hands go.
Just the hand cam. Wait, that might be a different thing.
We're going too overboard.
Fans think Mortal Kombat's Ed Boon is teasing a Marvel game. Yeah, I'm not going to read it. The guy who runs NetherRealm, who makes Mortal Kombat and Injustice, is kind of teasing a Marvel game, maybe?
It wouldn't surprise me if they are doing one. Because, like, Disney or Marvel would have seen what they've done with the DC
Injustice. Fucking great
Injustice and Mortal Kombat, and they would have thinking, wait, can we do that? And like the Injustice story is pretty decent for most part for both of them, and if they can do something similar like that with the combat and beautiful, sexy style of that, yeah, I'm not very surprised if this is happening.
He is.
If people are seeing this type of thing and these teasing things, that kind of tells me something's coming. And obviously it's E3 next month, so
and
if he's teasing something, that means it's coming.
Pandemic.
So he's got something to show.
Pandemic notwithstanding, I think we will probably due NetherRealm's next game now. Obviously, pandemic delays. Whatever.
That's why they gave us Mortal Kombat again last year.
So
the same game.
Here's my pie in the sky hope. You ready for a movie? It's sexy. Marvel versus DC fighting game. I'd love one. I think it'd be great. NetherRealm have done
that
versus
doesn't tickle
before.
my fancy, I won't lie. That doesn't tickle my fancy. Personally, I would say right now, just to get me on board, give me a Marvel game and stuff like that, and then maybe ask me that after that if it does actually happen. Right now, for me, I would say no.
Like, you get all these Injustice characters and their multi-realm hopping things, right? And that's what Mortal Kombat's about as well. So maybe you could just have all three and they all just fight each other. And, there'll be a story that ties it all together, I'm sure. But, like, I could just get Superman and I could just be like, yeah, take this. Bam. Take this, Iron Man. Bang.
You may have the most successful franchise, but I am still Superman. Who are you again? And then at the end, Stark's like, who are you again?
Oh, yeah. But you know me. I love DC. I'd love to beat up some Marvel characters with some DC characters.
You do.
IO Interactive is reportedly developing a new fantasy project for Xbox. This is from Natalie Clayton. Over at PC Gamer, who writes, Hitman developer IO Interactive is reportedly working on a new fantasy IP for Xbox, which is exactly what the headline said, according to reports from Windows Central. The outlet was told of a new IP named Project Dragon, which had come up in talks between IO and Microsoft. Those reports were corroborated by Eurogamer, whose sources explained the project is AAA in scope, though still very early in development. Project Dragon is reportedly a connected world RPG with various job listings searching for multiplayer network programmers. One now pull listing spotted by Windows Central even lists the team name as Dragon. Eurogamer sources elaborated, saying the game would take place in a medieval-esque world featuring dragons.
Really? I bet this is that Dragon game that was cancelled years ago, and they finally given it to someone else to do this, and this is what it's going to be. I can't remember what that game was called.
It's called Scalebound, and it was by Platinum.
That's it. Scalebound. Yeah, they're finally getting it, ladies and gentlemen. They're bringing it back at long last. Xbox have heard you. Phil Spencer has heard you, even though the game looked like trash.
How dare you?
They've heard you.
You fucking take that back. I will kick you in the balls.
No high fiving, is there?
There's no high fiving for that one. You talk shit about Platinum Games in my presence? In my presence?
The game looked like trash. I'm sorry.
You look like trash.
But I look good doing it, though.
Yeah, you look like hot trash. But still trash. How dare you? Platinum Games is an institution around these parts, I'll have you know. But yeah, whatever. I don't care what you think. That much. Think what you want to think.
I do.
I know you do. No matter how much I try to stop you.
If the world followed you, Amy, the world would be a lot simpler.
If the world followed me, I honestly believe it would be a lot better, but a lot more chaotic.
It was fun.
It would be interesting. It's probably not scale-bound. Yeah, there's nothing really to speculate on here, but it's cool that IO Interactive is making a fantasy game, right? Like, it's very different from...
So they're doing Bond,
Hitman.
and now they're doing a fantasy game.
James Bond.
Yeah.
Which, like, James Bond is like the... It's like an offshoot of Hitman, right? Like, in terms of, like, it's going to be very similar to the Hitman games, probably. So it's nice that they're also getting to flex and stretch their legs a bit and do something very different. Unless we're just going to get, like, some kind of medieval fantasy assassin simulator, which actually, you know, like, you play as a guy who has to, like, blend in with the crowds and assassinate dragons, which I'm here for as well, if I'm going to be honest. Like, Hitman-style medieval fantasy with dragons.
Yeah, I'm more excited for this than the Bond game, because the Bond game literally just sounds like it's going to be Hitman for me. I might be wrong, and whenever they are ready to show that, which will probably 2 years, probably I would say.
Yeah, a couple of years.
I hope to be proven wrong and everything, but yeah, this one sounds more exciting than the Bond.
Well, I think the Bond game will probably have more of an action focus because it's James Bond. See,
you can go as action as you want in Hitman. It's your decision.
An action focus. I am. See, I'm on the same page as you, sort of, but I'm reading a different book where it's like I'm not really that bothered because it's James Bond, and I don't really like James Bond that much. Like, I'm here for Hitman. I love Hitman. The 3 Hitman World of Assassination trilogy games are fucking great, and I love all of them. But it's like James Bond's never really done anything for me. Like, Moonraker was on TV the other day, my parents were watching it, and I was just like, whatever. It's not my thing.
It's like we're allowed to have different opinions.
I know, right? It's funny, though, isn't it? It's like neither one of us is that into the James Bond game for different reasons. It's fun. This is why I like podcasting with you, Mooney. We don't just go, yes, I agree, and then move on. We have discussions and conversations. And also, you kept complaining that we didn't talk about video games enough on the video game podcast, so I started putting more in. And actually, it's really good. I like talking about video games, as it turns out.
Could have took away of all the fluff at the beginning, like.
You know what? We're actually pretty under time.
Are we really? Damn.
Yes.
It feels like we've been here hours. Oh wait,
We have. We just didn't start
actually.
recording straight away.
We need to sort that out personally.
We need to stop being friends. We just need to be
Yeah.
co-hosts. We need to stop having
Yeah.
we need to stop having pleasant conversations at the beginning of podcasts. Where we talk like we're best friends or something. Like we need to
Yeah.
stop doing that. So I guess what I'm saying for the good of the podcast is, Mooney, I think our friendship needs to die.
Yeah, I think that's fair, Amy.
I'm gonna
that's
finish
fair.
this podcast off, and then I'm just gonna fall into a deep depression for the next week until we do this again. No.
Okay, that's fair. I agree.
According to Google Docs, you're considering I made the camel metaphor before. According to Google Docs, you're an enormous camel. So I guess it's your back that we're putting the straws on.
This is the banter I live for, ladies and gentlemen.
This is why this is why this podcast works so well.
Yeah, allegedly. Have to throw it in there
Shut
for
up,
him.
Keith.
Have to
I
put
mean,
that in
Moody.
there for him. He's gonna listen to that. He's gonna be like, "Wait, what did I say?"
I hope so. Here's how Back 4 Blood's card system and game director will work. This is from Michael McGuire over at Polygon, who writes, the creators of the original Left 4 Dead have a new zombie shooter, Back 4 Blood, coming this fall. The game will amp up the complexity, and the developers hope the replayability, of Left 4 Dead's formula with the addition of a card system focused on gameplay customization. As detailed in a new YouTube video, each run of Back 4 Blood is driven by what developer Turtle Rock is calling the game director. Left 4 Dead's version of that was called the AI director. Back 4 Blood's game director will play its own set of cards that can modify environmental conditions, e.g. playing in a blackout, add challenges, and send special enemies like armored or flaming zombies. The video shows the game director throwing mutations like the Hag and armored tall boys at players, ramping up the difficulty. During gameplay, the director will work behind the scenes to monitor players' actions, health, and choices to make each playthrough unique. Players will have their cards of their own to play. There will be pre-made decks and vast customization through cards, Turtle Rock says, letting players choose from character perks, e.g. infinite secondary ammo, health from Molotov cocktail kills, and buffs that they've earned through gameplay. The developer promises tons of different cards you can earn by tackling optional challenges and objectives. I feel like I'm going to get really into this game. I feel like there's a good chance that I'm going to get super into this.
I hope so. I think it's a game that we, like you, me, and like say Keith and anyone else could just have a lot of fun running around blowing zombies up like crazy. Just have a good sit back, relaxing fun.
Like,
it'd be nice to have that.
Yeah, like when they announced it, I was like, cool. The original Left 4 Dead creators are making a new Left 4 Dead. They just can't legally call it Left 4 Dead because Valve owns the name. Allegedly. But like my interest in it was like nostalgia driven, right? Like I played hundreds of hours of Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 with Keith and Russell mostly. But I wasn't like super like on board for like, oh, like Left 4 Dead in 2021, like let's fucking go, like I was going to play it for a bit and be like, yeah, this is still pretty fun, but then probably like drop off and do something else. But like, it seems like Turtle Rock have actually thought about how do we take the series, the spiritual successor, I guess, to the next level. And like, the card system sounds like it could be really interesting, right? Because there's emergent gameplay in Left 4 Dead, but it did sometimes feel like after you've played it for a couple hundred hours, that was like, yeah, we're just doing the same things. It's just zombies spawn in different places, right? But like the card system sounds like it could keep things mixed up quite well.
Hopefully.
Well, you never know quite what to expect.
Yeah. Like I have no affiliation with Left 4 Dead, so I'm going in basically blind. So that's interesting. It's gonna be fun.
That's cool. If it's anywhere approaching like how much fun Left 4 Dead was to play with other people, I think you're gonna fucking love it.
I hope so.
I think either way, it's gonna be a fun game to stream. Hopefully it has crossplay, so we can all play on our respective consoles/PCs. We've reached the final news story of the week, with plenty of time to spare. Sony registers trademark for Xbox exclusive Sunset Overdrive. This is from Jordan Alleman over at IGN. He writes that, plus, spotted by Nebel on Twitter, the trademark was registered at the US Patent and Trademark Office in late April. It doesn't confirm anything, but it is interesting given that Sunset Overdrive was initially exclusive to Xbox One upon its release in 2014. The game then came to PC in 2018 before Sony acquired Insomniac as a first-party PlayStation studio in 2019. This means Sony can lay claim to the game and are clearly interested in maintaining its patent, but whether they intend to actually do anything with the property is anyone's guess. Interestingly enough, Sunset Overdrive director Drew Murray recently rejoined Insomniac Games after a stint at Microsoft's, I'm not reading that, Perfect Dark studio, The Initiative.
I just saw what you skipped over there. That's funny though. Okay, it's a little interesting that the guy who was director of the game has come back. That is interesting.
I agree.
And they registered in the trademark. Could be just for a lot of reasons, just because they own the name and the trademark was, so they had to re-sign it so they could keep the name and everything like that. Yeah. 9 times out of 10, that's what normally it is. That's
what patent things like Square. Like there was a kickoff a few years ago now where Square Enix filed a patent for Parasite Eve, and everyone was like, "Oh shit, they're bringing Parasite Eve back." And it's like, no, the companies just have to file patents, otherwise they lose the rights to the names of things.
So if they didn't have that part what you just said at the end with Drew Murray coming back,
yeah, that's interesting. That's a twist.
That is interesting. It kind of makes me think something's happening there. Could be completely wrong, and he could just come back and just say, "Yo, but creating Spider-Man 2, we need your help," or something like that.
They are. I mean, they do have the similar energy to them. Sunset Overdrive and Spider-Man. They're completely different games, obviously, but I think the most.
Sunset Overdrive will probably sell incredibly well better on PlayStation.
Oh God, yes. I think what you'll get. Well, they can market it as, "Hey, remember the guys that made Spider-Man? They made this." Like,
I
think the best you'll get is, if you're going to get anything, again, it could just be a really weird coincidence that Drew Murray has rejoined Insomniac Games at the same time they've renewed this patent. But I think the best you would possibly get out of this is maybe they'll remaster Sunset Overdrive for PS5.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of up-res it, better frame rate, because I think the frame rate was a bit bad when it launched. Maybe add a little bit of content to it, like some new quests or something. It's a great game, and I really enjoyed playing it, and I will take the opportunity to play it again if they remaster it. But I don't think PlayStation are looking going, let's make a new one.
But if Laserdom, you wanted to show them you wanted a sequel, you buy this.
You fucking buy it. Hell yeah. I would kill for another Sunset Overdrive game. But I'll settle for buying the game.
A friend of ours, MC Fixer, loved that game, and he's called out for a sequel for the longest of times, and obviously thought when Sony bought Insomniac that they probably will never see a sequel at all, or if they do, it's going to be just for PlayStation. And
I think it will be. Yeah, I mean, it will be just for PlayStation.
Oh, definitely. PlayStation aren't going to release it for anyone else. No. Unless there's some tied-up contract behind the scenes that we have no idea about.
I don't think Microsoft cares that much about
that
Sunset Overdrive.
If they would
have. Yeah, they would have made a sequel in the 7 years since the game came out. The companies, like console manufacturers, buy companies to put their games exclusively on their consoles and platforms. I wonder if that's a statement that can be applied to any other recent dealings between a console manufacturer and a publisher. Probably not. It's time for Games Out next week.
Games Out next week, ladies and gentlemen. Thankfully, there isn't that many, but there is one that I am incredibly, incredibly sexy for. But let's get into the ones that don't sound so sexy for me. That is one, Hood, The Outlaws and Legends, PC, PlayStation 5 and 4, the Xbox Series, and the Xbox One. In a violent medieval world, outplay rival gangs in an intensive PvPvE multiplayer heists, moving in stealth to steal treasures unseen or dominating through loud and brutal combat. Only the best will escape. with hard-earned riches. The other one is Mad Devil PC. It is a co-op arcade shooter set in the twisted World War II setting. What does an allied special forces squad who hunts Nazis to do? Let me try that again. What does an allied special forces squad who hunt Nazis occasionally do when they're betrayed, killed, and resurrected as demons? Their job. That's actually pretty funny. That May 12th, you got Retro Machine. PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox, and the Nintendo Switch. It is a single-player action of an explosion game set in a retro-futuristic universe. Experience the journey of a little robot as they solve indicative puzzles and begin unraveling the mysteries of a world long forgotten. May 13th, Before We Leave PC, is a non-violent city building game set in a cozy corner of the universe. Nature your peeps and their surroundings while rebuilding and rediscovering civilizations. Settle new lands and planets while avoiding hungry space whales. Wait, what? That's the most randomest thing at the end, while avoiding hungry space whales from the game. And last, May 14th, ladies and gentlemen, the game that we've all been waiting for, especially as me and Amy will be doing a deep dive into all three games of the sexiness that is the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. It's coming to the PC, the PlayStation 4, and the Xbox One. The Mass Effect Legendary Edition includes single-player based content and over 40 DLC from the highly acclaimed Mass Effect 2, and the highly acclaimed Mass Effect 3 in games, including promo weapons, armors, and packs, remastered and optimized for 4K Ultra HD. Doesn't tell you anything about the game, so hopefully you know about the games, it's all right. But yeah, I'm incredibly excited to play the Mass Effect. Obviously, this weekend, me and Amy are going to be smashing it like crazy to be playing Resident Evil Village.
Resident Evil. I was like, no, I'm not. I thought you were talking about Mass Effect. You'll see my face when you say we're smashing it like crazy. I was like,
wait, no,
I'm not.
No, really, don't put words in my mouth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. Speaking about Resident Evil, I went on my Steam page and I was looking. Where the hell is it on my Steam page? But Mass Effect Legend Edition's not even there anymore. But I look for it at the store and it comes up. It says you have this in library. I'm asking, where is it in my library?
I don't know how.
I hope it comes back online at midnight tonight so I can install the bugger. I want to play this game.
I don't know how it works. I think if you could just click on it from the store page, there'll be a button you can click on it, which will install it. I think.
I'll have a look. I will have a look after the podcast.
Not my area of expertise.
Yeah. No, it wasn't that anything might be. Yeah, I was literally just speaking out loud more than anything. I was just
it's fine.
Where have the two games that I bought 2 months ago, where have they gone?
What I did was...
Right, yours on Boomerang?
Yeah, I put a disc in the machine, and then I wait a bit, and then it goes, you can play this now. And I go, okay, cool. And then I play it.
Oh, Amy.
It's time for OpenCritic Head-to-Head. This is the game myself and Moody and sometimes get a special guest player every single week where we try to guess the OpenCritic average of one upcoming game. Whoever guesses closest to the score gets 1 point. If you manage to guess the score correctly, you get 2 points. Last week, we tried to guess the OpenCritic average of Resident Evil Village. I guessed it would get an 89. Moody guessed it would get an 85. Moody's just checked OpenCritic to see if it's moved. Don't worry, I already did. And at the time of recording, Resident Evil Village has an OpenCritic average of 84.
I love how you knew what I was doing.
I knew what you're doing. I know what you're doing at all times. I feel like I know. I just know you. I just know you so well.
Should I be worried here?
Probably it should be.
Probably, yeah.
This is disappointing on Fantasy Critic levels because it's just like I kind of catch a break with these games. Like I'm getting all of the low 80s games, and it's just like, come on, man! Like one of these games has to break out for me. I'm ahead, but I'm not far enough ahead for the number
To
of
feel
games I've had
confident, I
released.
Amy.
This
Yeah,
isn't
I'm
like last
coming.
year where I was like, where is everyone? Like,
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
don't worry,
I told you.
I got this. You're right.
Yeah, right.
I've got E3 coming up, and I got a hell of a lot of gaps.
I have one gap to Nick one game.
I have
That
more
sounded
money.
wrong.
I have more money as well. Like,
I don't care about that.
I can outbid you on anything.
I don't care about
Feels good. It feels good. After the flight simulator debacle of 2020, it feels pretty good. That result for OpenCritic head-to-head, however, leaves the current scores at Amy 6, Moody 8, Foxes 3, Keith 10 with 2 draws. I'm not going to do the thing. I might do it next week. This week, right, here's the thing, right? I put TBD for this week on the thing because there's an obvious choice. But
before we leave, right?
yeah, sure. Is it going to get scored reviews?
Well, the Mass Effect trilogy. I'd be surprised if it doesn't.
I'd be surprised if it doesn't, but also, like, I mean, talk about fantasy critic. I've been hit by something similar to this that didn't get scored reviews.
The only thing is, for when it comes to the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, it's how long have the reviewers had it? Because these are 3 games.
I mean, if it doesn't get scored reviews next week, that's not a problem. We just hold it over.
Yeah.
I'm not bothered about when they come through. I'm just worried if they come through at all. Was my question.
I can understand if you didn't want to do it just because it's a remaster and everything. It's a game for obviously
Hell
games
no, I
that
don't
came
give a
out.
shit about that.
All right. Well, so what do you want to do then?
Let's do it.
I have
screw it.
All right.
I'm typing. It's very exciting. It's very exciting podcasting. Legendary Edition. Amy Moody. So, as Moody scrambles to check previous OpenCritic averages of previous Mass Effect games.
It's not on OpenCritic.
No, they're too old. What do you think the Mass Effect Legendary Edition is going to get if it gets a score on OpenCritic?
You can give me 2 minutes, please.
I'd rather not, because this is a podcast. We don't have 2 minutes.
90.
90. It's an interesting one. Because Mass Effect 3 was incredibly well reviewed when it came out.
So was Mass Effect 1 and 2.
And Mass Effect 3 did that thing where a lot of games do. Like, I don't know if you've ever noticed this. A game will get a massively high, critical consensus. And then opinion of it will fade slowly over time to, not necessarily this game sucks, but just, this game isn't quite up there as it was. But Mass Effect 1 is getting a complete gameplay overhaul.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to assume they're going to make it better and not worse.
Going off what I've seen from what they've obviously revealed, which isn't that much, it does look like it flows that a lot more snappier and a lot more better.
Then is that going to have a knock-on effect into the next Mass Effect game? Which obviously is very good third-person action RPG game, but is still 11 years old. Got a lot of complicated thoughts swirling around in my head. I already know the number that I'm going to pick. I'm just waffling, and I don't know. I'm just waffling because I feel like it.
All right, so what's your number?
87. Always was. I already knew I was going to pick 87.
I think the big one. I think the interesting one was going to be Mass Effect 1. There's no doubt about that.
I think Mass Effect 1. I think Mass Effect 1's what a lot of reviews would be based on because that's the one that's changing.
Yeah.
2
will get the same scores the boys was, and 3 I think will still get the same scores.
Yeah, I don't think they'll get individual scores. I think I think critics will be harder on it because I think critics are just harder in general on games now than in 2007 and 2010. They are.
Debatable.
They are, thank fuck. Only because there's so many more of them that are registered on websites such as this. You know how much
That's
stock I
fair.
put in reviews in general, anyway.
I know, that's true, yeah. And yet somehow you made it a game called OpenCritic Head-to-Head to talk
It's
about
just
reviews.
fun. It's fun. It was the idea was to talk about games.
That's true.
Because someone kept saying we don't talk about games very much. I was like,
But
I got
honestly,
an idea. Got an idea.
like you and me, we're gonna have cracking conversation. I think you and me about this. I know. Like
3. We're gonna have 3 cracking conversations about this.
3 cracking conversations on this. Like we both have great respect for both 1 and 2. I know we're both different on 3 and everything like that. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to have a great conversation for both of them because I love this franchise in general. Whatever your thoughts are with 3, I know you still like this franchise. You played you do enjoy the universe. You've said that yourself. I feel like you just don't want to say anything now, just because I'm giving you a compliment or something. I don't know.
I'm waiting for the.
But there's no but or anything. There's no but or anything like that.
You made a 33-minute retrospective about Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah. That's arguably the worst one out of all of them. Arguably, I'm not saying it is.
Definitely isn't. No matter what the comment, I keep getting comments on that video. It's quite entertaining.
Yeah, really.
Oh yeah,
Really.
They're 50-50 at the minute. I'll get a comment through which is like, yeah, good. Like I like this game, and then I'll get another comment through which is literally like, I pirated this game and it was a good job I did because it's terrible. And it's just like, why don't stop making my video a battleground for this nonsense?
Yeah, go away.
You're not going to provide. I said everything I wanted to say in the video, right? Like, you're not going to provoke me into an argument about Mass Effect and Andromeda. Just leave me alone.
Yeah. And if anyone thinks I'm going to provoke her into an argument with Mass Effect 3, I'm not. I'm just going to listen to what her thoughts are and everything. And we're going to have a cracking conversation. We're just
going to argue about anything. He's going to go. He's going to ask the question he wrote in the document last year. So, Amy, what's your problem with Mass Effect 3? And I'm going to go, well, let me tell you. And then I'm going to provide this 20-point fucking list of things that I
24-point document.
Mass Effect 3. Because everyone's always like, oh, it's the ending, isn't it? And it's like, I mean, yeah, but, definitely not just the ending. That's going to do it for episode whatever I said it was at the beginning of this podcast. Thanks, Moody. Let's go, because we've talked a lot, and we've had a lot to say, and also we spent 50 minutes before this podcast talking, so it's very late. So,
hi everybody.
Yeah, say that.
Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday to talk about Resident Evil and Nier Replicant.